Every time I feel like I'm done shopping, I find something else that's cute. And a few years ago, I would have easily given in and bought the thing. It would give me what I later learned is this dopamine hit. It felt good and comforting in the moment. Until I got home, the dopamine crashed, and I suddenly had the urge to go find the next best thing. We are constantly subtly told, or sometimes not so subtly, we're told that this next product is going to make our lives so much better, easier, more convenient, and most of the time, it won't. So I've experimented with no-buy or low-buy months here and there to curb my own shopping addiction that I struggled with a few years ago. But in reality, I do go through phases where I start to feel more spendy again. And that's when I know it's time for another detox, aka a no-buy month. So here are the simple steps I follow for a no-buy month. So I'm doing a no-buy month for January, maybe even February. We'll see how we go along. So you can join me during this month and I'll show you what I'm planning to do. In reality, a no-buy month is a dopamine detox. And I realized this by reading the book Dose by TJ Power. And I realized that's what I was doing. I was using shopping as getting this quick dopamine hit for years. It wasn't helping my budget. It wasn't helping my wardrobe because in reality, I did not wear all of those items that I bought years ago. They were just cluttering up my wardrobe. They were making me feel stressed because when I opened my wardrobe, it was full of stuff that sometimes I didn't even like that much anymore. Once I got it home, it maybe didn't go with the other items in my wardrobe, and it just made me feel bad. It made me get that regret and guilt over shopping, and I did not want to feel like that anymore. That's when I started decluttering, and I think decluttering was such a good process for me. It really opened my eye to how much I was shopping for things that I didn't truly need. But I also needed a way to stop the influx from coming in, right? So I was decluttering. I think I was doing great with that, but I wanted to make sure I'm not just bringing stuff in all the time that's gonna clutter up my space again and that's gonna ruin my budget. And this is a no guilt, no shame kind of video. There's no, I suck because I shopped too much this month. There will be slip ups, and sometimes we will have months where we rely a bit more on shopping. And I think as long as we acknowledge this and we try to take steps to improve this situation, then that's great. But let's leave shame on the side and just focus on what we can improve here. So step one, finding your why. Because I realized when I'm doing a no-buy month, I need to have a reason behind it. If I don't, it's just not very tangible. It can feel boring sometimes, which I think is a normal process to go through when we're doing a no-buy month. But when we're looking at our why, I think it's important not to have it too broad. Like if I just say, I just want to spend less, that's a bit too broad. It's not very specific. It's not that tangible. Okay, I want to spend less, but why do I want to spend less? What do I want to do with that money instead? Having a goal that I'm working towards, having that purpose, that gives me so much more fuel and motivates me to stay on track for the most part with that no-buy month. For myself, my biggest goal is to pay our mortgage off early, because I realized what a difference it is between paying off our mortgage in 25 years versus paying it in 10 to 15 years maybe. There's a huge difference between the total amount that we will pay at the end of each of these periods, because the interest will add up so much. And so for me, this doesn't mean that for the next 20 years, I'm never gonna shop again and save every penny, but it means I'm gonna be more conscious about it. And my goal is to save up chunks of money so we can do overpayments to our mortgage. So pay over what our monthly rate is. But there are so many goals we can have when it comes to money. Maybe it's I want to pay off my $60K debt, or I want to save a down payment for a house, or I want to invest $100 per month for my future. I want to save for a vacation, or maybe even I want to save for my emergency fund, which is what we have done as well. I think when we have that goal that we're working towards, it feels less like we're depriving ourselves, less like we're just restricting what we're buying, and more of, I'm just being intentional with my money so that I can have this future goal that I'm working towards. Step number 2 is setting the rules for your no-buy month. And these can be so different for everybody, and it doesn't have to be as strict as you think it needs to be. It can be flexible depending on what plans you have, if you have any birthdays, any events, things like that. But for me, some of the rules that I've set down are the one in, one out. So I will only shop for a new item when one needs replacing. So if I run out of shampoo, of course I'm gonna go out and buy shampoo. But I'm not gonna go out and buy more when I already have that in my bathroom. So I'm gonna try using up what I have before I buy anything new. I'm gonna minimize unnecessary purchases for a while, and unnecessary means I don't need them for survival, like new clothes, new shoes, new makeup, that kind of stuff. I think I'm not as tempted to get toys for my kids as much as I was in the past, but that's also something that's on my list. So having a little think about the rules can be really helpful, and they can be as strict or as relaxed as you want. It's just about being more intentional with our spending for this month. And while we're at it, we also want to make the list of exceptions. So what I put on my exceptions list is, for one, I'm doing this no buy month in January. So my exceptions for the month of January, obviously I'm going to replace the products if I run out of mascara, I'm gonna replace it. But I'm also going to put on my exceptions list the fact that I've got my daughter's birthday. So she turns 3 this month, and we're gonna have a little party for her at home. I already got a lot of her gifts already, so I don't really need to buy a lot for her anymore, but there will be little things we need to buy for the party. I'm actually reusing a lot of the party things we had from my son's birthday party. So, like a happy birthday banner and a little hat, like happy birthday hats and things like that, decorations for the party. I'm going to reuse those, but there will be some things we need to buy. So that's on my exceptions list. I am going to try to be intentional with that as well and not overspend. And I think that's it. I don't feel like I have any other exceptions. Like if I had a product in mind that I've been looking to buy, maybe I could put that on my list in case it goes on sale or in case I, want to buy it. But I think if I set out I'm going to do a no buy month, I just want to not buy that much for the month. Step number 4 that I'm gonna do throughout the month is to keep a wish list. So whatever products I see that I really want to buy, I'm gonna make a note of them and put them on my wish list. And my wish list is just a little notes app on my phone. So I just write down there what I feel like buying in the moment, and I can keep it on my wish list until the end of the month and see if I really want it at the end of the month. I've been doing a wish list for years now, and I have found so many products I've put on my wish list, and in 2 weeks I look at my wish list and I'm like, why did I put this here? I don't want it anymore. So I think if you try this wish list method, you will be surprised at how many things you're gonna put on there but you're actually not gonna want anymore in a few months. Sometimes that desire to purchase will just go away when you don't have the ad in front of you. And also, one thing I'm gonna try this month, I've never done this before, but I want to keep track of, I'm gonna keep track of my wish list, but I'm also gonna keep track of things that tempted me, like things that I wanted to buy but I didn't because of the month, and maybe I'll write the product and how much it would have cost and see what the total will be at the end of the month. So I'm gonna try to remember to do that throughout the month, and maybe I'll do an update in the future. But I think it will be interesting to see how much we would actually spend in that month if we gave into every little impulse that we had. Step 5 that I did, and I think this was really helpful for me in the past months where I did a no buy, is to make a list of temptations. So I've made some reminders for myself of the websites, the apps, the kinds of items that I feel tempted to buy, so that throughout the month I know, okay, these are items that tempt me, so maybe I should just not look at them. Maybe delete the app from my phone if I have it on my phone. I don't really have shopping apps on my phone anymore. Okay, so I'll tell you what I put down. So looking on H&M, the H&M website, and sometimes I won't buy from the website, but I'll go on Vinted to look for the item. So I'm trying not to do that. So that's one thing I want to not do. Also, Look Fantastic. That's the website where I usually get makeup and beauty products or skincare that I need, but I already have the products that I need for the month, so I'm not going to go on the website and get tempted by any January sales, so that's not going to happen. We've reduced the amount of takeaways that we get as well, because they can add up so much, and sometimes it's not even that special. So we do still get a takeaway here and there, but we're trying to do more like going out to get the food, so like making it an experience rather than just getting a takeaway delivered to our house. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but during this no buy month, I'm trying to be more intentional with that. Browsing Vinted out of boredom is something that I sometimes tend to do. I'll just scroll on there, and then sometimes you'll find things that you like. And the thing about Vinted is that it's really cool, and I love the app, but you can get tempted by items that you didn't truly need. And then because you see it and you feel like maybe there's only that one specific product, then maybe I need to buy it right now. So I'm trying not to do that. Don't go on Vinted. I don't need anything this month. Then ASOS trainers, that's something I'm gonna take a step back from this month and not buy anything from that category. Lots of new toys we do not need that month. It was just December, Christmas, everything like that. Other things I put on my temptation list is new Adanola or Lululemon gear. Because I work out, sometimes you feel like you have to buy new gear, like new gym gear, new leggings, new tops. And in reality, I already have Lululemon and Adanola tops and leggings that work just fine. I don't really need any new ones. So during this month, I'm just gonna not even look at those websites. And one other thing that I put on my list that's kind of related to my business, like being a content creator, is not looking at filming gear, because I do sometimes get tempted to buy new camera equipment or new lights or, new little gadgets to use for filming my videos. But I feel like I already have the setup that I need. So that's one thing I also put on my temptation list. Step number 6 is to avoid slip-ups, but don't beat yourself up if they happen, because I know it can be hard for a whole month not to buy a lot of things, especially when you are so used to buying a lot, like I was. So a few things that I try to remind myself during this month is, one, no mindless shopping, like no mindless browsing on my phone for items, because I know once we start going down that rabbit hole of like scrolling and looking through items and finding the sizes and different colors, then it can be really tempting to buy a product. So that's something I'm going to try to avoid this month. And also I'm going to reduce scrolling of those accounts that really influence me to buy. Now I've become really aware of the kinds of content that influences me to buy stuff. I'm going to remove any shopping apps that I have from my phone. I think the only one that I do have on my phone is Amazon. I used to have things like ASOS and all of these shopping apps on my phone, so I don't have those anymore because there's no point really. Like when I do need something, a product, I can find a million ways to go and look for that. I don't need reminders of all these products that I don't even need in the first place. I'm going to unsubscribe from email newsletters from various different shops that somehow I still get. I feel like I'm quite good at unsubscribing to things, and I will keep newsletters that bring value to me, like from some creators that I love to follow, but I don't need them from all these different shops telling me they have a 20% discount this month. Something I learned from the Atomic Habits book that's been really helpful is to add a few steps in between you and the bad habit that you want to break. So if there's a habit like shopping that I want to put on pause, that I want to make sure I'm more intentional about, that I'm making good decisions about, so between me and that shopping habit, I need to put in more steps, because these days with social media, it's so easy and frictionless and effortless to buy stuff. We just need us, our phone, and that's it. We can just mindlessly shop at the click of a button. And so if I can add more steps in between me and shopping on my phone, then that's going to make it easier to stay on track with this. So what I'm going to do for this month is I'm going to say no shopping on my phone. So if I want to buy something, I need to go on my laptop to buy it. And I feel like even just adding a little bit of an extra step there, it makes it less mindless and more intentional. So that's one tiny little atomic habit that I'm going to try to incorporate this month. We've removed Amazon Prime because we realized we don't need Amazon Prime. Like we don't need things on our doorstep the next day. Very rarely do we need things delivered the next day. Very rarely is the case that, I can't wait 5 more days for that pair of shoes to arrive or whatever it is that we buy. And one other thing that I think really helps is to have some accountability. So I've got accountability with you here because we're in this together, but you can also enlist maybe your partner or a friend or a family member, someone who they don't have to do this with you, but just kind of letting them know that this is what we're doing for the month can really help for them to keep you on track and kind of check in with you. Accountability is a very powerful thing that we can include here if you find that you're struggling throughout the month. And step number 7 is to switch my focus. So we've got all of these rules laid out, but at the end of the day, every day there's going to be temptations to buy stuff. And so what I want to do instead is to switch my focus from buying and consuming to creating and working on hobbies, working on, reading or working out, taking care of my body and my health instead of buying a new outfit, going out for walks in nature instead of going to the shopping center, having a movie night with my kids instead of being on my phone scrolling, and getting inspired for things to purchase. But I want to focus on creating more content or working on my business, doing things that are productive versus doing things that just drain my budget. I also want to switch my focus from, constantly buying new clothes to enjoying the wardrobe that I already have, because we have bought all of these items in our wardrobe for a reason. And how nice to enjoy the clothes that we have and find different ways to style them. And for this, I'm definitely going to use my Index app where I created my digital wardrobe. You can use it for free and it's really great. I've done a video on this separately if you want to watch that. But I'm going to try to just have fun with my wardrobe and style it in different ways instead of constantly looking for the next best thing. Let me know if you're doing a no buy month and where you're at, how you're getting on, and let me know your why. Why are you doing your no buy month? Let's keep each other accountable and do this together. I hope this was helpful and I will see you in my next video.